got sick, and certainly our condolences go out to him, and hopefully we'll see him back around the racetrack before too long.
Schrader has things pretty much in hand at the moment, but not letting him get too far ahead is Ernie Irvan in second place, and Jeff Bodine continues to hang right in there in third position. Now, Rick Mast, we had heard, was perhaps asking for at least the possibility of some relief help. We understand that he has decided against that, but that's how hot and humid it is today. And there is Ted Musgrave. John, is he standing by to possibly relieve?
Well, being prepared, the old Boy Scouts motto, is the best way to face situations like this. Rick is wearing a cool helmet where air is blown through ice and through a hose into the back of the helmet, blown on the face. Well, he's run out of ice. It's now blowing hot air in on his face, and he is not feeling very well at all. So they have asked Ted Musgrave to stand by just in case Rick wants to come out of the car, but Bob Johnson says he probably wouldn't come out of the car unless they get a caution.
Boy, Jeff Bodine has gone back a few positions, hasn't he?
Down in 1 and 2, these cars, all of a sudden, just something happens down in 1 and 2, and the other cars go by.
So the shuffle in the standings now has Schrader, Irvan, Ricky Rudd moves up to third, then Elliott, and Jeff Bodine falls back to fifth.
Ernie sees these guys coming and says, wait a minute, I don't want to be second. I better see if I can get by Schrader.
Then you mentioned something happening down in turn 1. It's a sharper turn going into turn 1 than it is turn 3. And if there is a little quirk or something in the aerodynamics of the cars because of the strips on the rear deck lids of the car, that might be where it's affecting.
It will certainly show up more down in turns 1 and 2 than it would 3 and 4. You're right, that corner is much sharper than 3 and 4. Here's Irvan trying to take the lead. He's on the inside. Now, who's Rudd going to help?
We'll see who
Let's
Rudd...
see.
That's his teammate up on the outside, Schrader, both Hendrick Motorsports cars, so it looks like he might be going with him.
Good point, Ned. You would think that he would try to... Wait a minute now, Ricky.
He's not sure which one to go with, to tell you the truth.
Irvan, I think, is going to get credit for leading that lap, but now Schrader and Rudd begin to inch ahead of... Well, no, here comes Ernie right back on the bottom side of the racetrack.
But it should, the momentum they got on the outside should pull them down the backstretch ahead of him. Although, as Benny said earlier, that 4-car has a lot of horsepower, and he's going to stay right out there with them, going down with them, drafting each other, and him down there by himself. Well, they get a little bit of an edge on him going down the backstretch.
He moved away from the pack of cars down the back straightaway, seeing if that would help him just a little bit, Ned, and it looked like it hurt him instead of helping him.
Now look how far Schrader pulled ahead once they got side by side behind him.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a report on Dale Earnhardt.
It must be a helpless feeling for Dale Earnhardt right now. His car keeps sliding backwards in the field, and that car apparently getting looser and looser. He has complained to the crew that the car must have a tire going down. What they would like to do, as Richard Petty now moves up and tries to make a move around Earnhardt, what the crew would like to do is see if Dale could hold on for just 4 more laps. That'll give them lap 110. They can make it the rest of the way on this final stop. They are hoping and praying with their fingers crossed as Richard Petty now makes the pass on the hapless Earnhardt. And if they can make this one final pit stop and correct that possible tire going down and then go the rest of the way. But a tough day for Dale Earnhardt.
The points leader in Winston Cup competition by 138 over Ricky Rudd, who at the moment is running second in this event. And this is the halfway point of the 1999-91 Winston Cup season. We'll be back with more of our live coverage from Daytona International Speedway.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sports Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Nothing beats a winning team, pushing hard, reaching for the dream. Nothing beats clean, crisp and cold. Got the king of beer, you're on a roll. Nothing beats the Bud, Budweiser. Nothing beats the Bud. Nothing beats the Bud.
Ever wonder what I do when I'm not racing? I'm at Western Auto, kind of checking things out, and you should too. Hey, guys.
Hi, Daryl.
Because now you can enter our exciting We Win, You Win $1 Million Racing Sweepstakes. There's monthly drawings for Chevy Luminas, race trips, plus, if I win the championship, one of you will win $1 million.
While you're at Western Auto, pick up Phillips round halogens for $4.88 or the rectangular for $9.88. It's time to change to Phillips.
I think it looks better in cardboard.
Yeah, very chic.
ESPN Speed World today at Daytona International Speedway for the NASCAR Pepsi 400 Winston Cup race. 108 laps are completed. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by McDonald's. Getting more for your money, that's McDonald's today. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. Under caution for the third time this afternoon. This was for a spin over in turn number 2 involving Mike Chase in the A.J. Foyt, number 14. He has climbed out of the car okay, and this is how it happened.
Well, he was running right behind Dale Jarrett. It looks like he might have tried to move to the inside, and all of a sudden, the car got out of control, slams into the outside retaining wall. Here comes Rick Mast, made his way to go on the inside, and he does get by.
And pit road becomes very, very busy as just about everybody comes in for a pit stop.
And Ernie Irvin missed his pit. Ernie Irvin missed his pit and did not, or he just put some gas in because, I guess they just put some gas in because Rudd's going out. Ooh. This is a great break for Dale Earnhardt. Remember how loose his car was? He's able to put on 4 tires and probably beat the spoiler back up now.
Earnhardt and the Richard Childress crew still working on that car. Now Dale is down off the jacks and begins to move back onto the pit road.
Look at all the track position he's going to lose because these fellas just went in and put on some gas and went back out.
Now, when we had the caution flag come out, something very interesting happened, Ned.
Yes, Ken Schrader moved to the inside of the track. Ricky Rudd was running second. His teammate in Hendrick Motorsports, Rudd, has not led this race today, and I'm sure the crew got on the radio and said, hey, back off, let Ricky come back to the line first. It might be his only opportunity to lead. At least it was an easy opportunity, so they let him get 5 Winston Cup bonus points.
And in 16 Pepsi 400 starts, Ricky Rudd has led only 2 laps, and his best finish was 6th in 1986. He is certainly on his way to perhaps his best finish in a Pepsi 400. We'll take another break and be back with more right after this.
Here's a question for you.
Gee, is this a quiz, sir?
Can you tell us where to find the absolute best entertainment?
Yes, sir. I think I can.
And time's up. It's Store, Cable, and Showtime, of course. It'll amaze your senses, tickle your funny bone, and entertain your kids.
Every day.
Mom's gonna hear about this!
So don't miss a minute of the entertainment on Store, Cable, and Showtime.
Okay, boys, let's go.
We make you feel at home.
Purchasing a new or used car can be a big decision. Hi, I'm Steve Fisher, president of Willingboro Chrysler Plymouth, the Willing dealership. The right price and the right car are certainly important, but we feel that people make the difference.
When you make that decision, consider that service can be an important part of your driving experience.
Whether it's routine maintenance or major repair, your car will be in the hands of professionals. You can count on us to be willing for the next 25 years. Right, Jer?
Right, Dad.
Willingboro Chrysler Plymouth, Route 130, Edgewater Park.
Nothing starts more trouble than dirt. And no air filter stops more dirt than Fram.
Oh, no!
Oh, yeah. Fram, the end of the road for dirt.
Daytona International Speedway, Daytona Beach, Florida. That's the scene of today's Pepsi 400 Winston Cup race, and we are live here on ESPN Speed World. 110 out of 160 laps are in the books. We're under caution for the 3rd time today because of a spin and an incident with the wall by Mike Chase in turn number 2. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a report on tire wear.
Well, gentlemen, tire wear basically is non-existent, and I think Goodyear Tire and Rubber have done a engineers have done a tremendous job in developing this radial tire for Daytona. What you see beside me is the radial tire all the teams are using. There's about 30 seconds of rubber when these tires are brand new here. That's the tread that you wear. Now, some of these drivers have run 80 laps in practice, sometimes 85, close to 90 laps in practice. They'll come back in, and these tires still have 30 seconds of tread on them, so they're not wearing much at all. That's why you see these teams feel so comfortable in this last caution flag to take only fuel and not change tires. Tire wear is not a problem. Just want to keep fuel in the car and make it to the checkered flags. Bob?
All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Well, building last year, a great race here at Daytona. At least we had hoped for a good race. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. The Pepsi 400, July 7th, 1990. Dale Earnhardt took the early advantage from surprise pole sitter Greg Sachs. As the field came down to complete lap 1, one of the most destructive crashes in NASCAR history. Over half the field involved. 8 cars were unable to continue. Fortunately, all drivers escaped injury. After a long cleanup delay, the race resumed as Earnhardt again took command. The traditional drafting lines were very much in evidence with the restrictor plates on. Mark Martin, the points leader, took a long slide down the backstretch. He was able to continue and wound up in 11th position, maintaining his points advantage. Bobby Hillin had one of his best races of the year, actually leading 2 laps. In spite of a spin and near disaster on pit road, Hillin went on to finish 6th after starting 28th. Earnhardt scored his 2nd consecutive victory and moved back to 2nd in points, 63 behind Martin. It was his first win at the World Center of Racing. Dale Earnhardt, the defending champion of this event, that had to be one of the biggest disappointments of my racing career last year when those cars wiped out on the first lap, but it turned out to be a good race anyway, and we are about to go back to green for this one, the 1991 edition of the Pepsi 400. The green comes out, and Ricky Rudd is at the top of the field.
And that's Alan Kowicki that has snuck up to the 3rd spot in that Hooters Ford. Had a big week this week, Alan, because one of his sponsors' restaurants right across the street from the Speedway. Had a show car there all week.
I bet he got free meals every time he wanted to go in.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And I'll bet that most members of our crew spent most of their lunch hours there, too.
It's always packed here this week.
Schrader is back to 4th. In 5th position is the 22 car. The 28 machine of Davey Allison. Now, we talked earlier in the race about how he was having all kinds of handling problems, but it looks as if he has those handling problems corrected because he's up in the top 10. Jerry?
That's exactly right, Bob. In fact, what they finally figured out, we mentioned that they were looking for a possible spring that may have come out of the bucket. Well, what actually happened was the U-bolt or the U-clamp that holds the trailing arm to the rear end has a rubber spacer in it. That rubber spacer had gotten compressed, allowing that rear end to move back and forth beneath Davey and let Davey feel very, very unstable in the car. They tightened that up when they jacked the car up for the last pit stop, and now Davey is set to make a run to the front.
He's running in 8th position, battling alongside of Harry Gant, there number 33. Meanwhile, back up front, it becomes a battle for 4th position. Sterling Marlinauer, pole sitter on the inside. Ken Schrader is outside of him. Then right behind is Jimmy Spencer in the 98 car.
Spencer almost pushing that 25 car in short shoot.
There's Rusty Wallace in the middle of that pack. Rusty didn't have a good qualifying run, but he has run well today. Stayed up in the lead pack much of the time. When I say lead pack, that could be in the first 15 or so positions.
Now, Marlin certainly isn't out of this race by any stretch of the imagination. If he were to win this race, he would take home $68,400 in Unocal bonus money for being the pole sitter and the race winner.
Which means it's been a while since the pole sitter won a race this year.
Showing you the drivers that have dropped out of competition. Terry Labonte was the first out.
Here comes Davey Allison and 3 abreast coming off the Triumph. trouble. Rusty Wallace on the inside had Sterling Marlin in the sandwich in the middle. Davey makes the pass. Everything, they come out of that unscathed. Makes me nervous, Bob.
More nervous watching him up here than it is down there.
Meanwhile, back to the race for the lead. Here goes Ernie.
Yeah, Irvin is going to take the lead away from Ricky Rudd back down the backstretch. Alan Kowicki is going to go into second position, and I believe that Trader is going to be third, and the leader, or the guy that was the leader, drops back to fourth. That's right.
We saw that earlier on with Dale Earnhardt when he was leading. He went all the way back to fifth spot.
Boy, Ernie Irvin just looks so strong here today. Can he win both races in 91 at Daytona? We'll answer that question in a few laps.
Time to go, boys. You've been in there long enough.
Hey, we're not even tired. I feel good.
So I've checked the mileage, Andy.
Hey, we're the auto line. We're guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far we go.
A spark plug guarantees that.
We do. Yeah, we're the auto line.
But
So go pull a plug on somebody else.
Here's to you, America, for being strong, for coming through, for doing all that you can do. We send our best to you. Nothing beats our best, Budweiser, nothing beats a Bud. And we'll toast and cheer with the king of beer. Nothing beats a Bud. I've seen them come and go. I've seen enough to know. So let your colors show. Nothing beats our best Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud. Yeah, we'll toast and cheer with the king of beers. Nothing beats our best. Nothing beats a Bud.
The driver of this car adds something special to his motor oil. So does the driver of this car. They both use STP oil treatment for drivers on a racetrack or drivers on a fast track. STP.
Around the world with over 1 million miles of award-winning coverage. ESPN Speed World today at Daytona International Speedway for the Pepsi 400, and we welcome you on the 118th lap of this 160-lap event. Ernie Irvin is the leader of the race. Ken Schrader running second. Jimmy Spencer has moved to third, and Davey Allison is all the way up to fourth.
They definitely have fixed that problem on Davey's car because his car is extremely strong now.
Those cars back behind them, these four have pulled away because the cars back behind them are running side by side.
Look at this scramble.
Man, oh man. Kowicki just a moment ago up in second spot got hustled to the back, and we have got a mess.
2 by 2 out of the second turn and down the backstretch. That's Waltrip and Alan Kowicki leading this.
Oh,
look at Earnhardt.
Got sideways. Somebody looked like made some contact.
Uh-oh, we've got a problem.
Contact here, for sure. Darrell Waltrip and Joe Rutten. Waltrip car gets on his roof and over and over.
Darrell Waltrip tumbling down the backstretch in what appears to be a very, very serious crash. Joe Ruttman, the other car involved in that incident. Darrell Waltrip.
Come on, DW.
And all we can do now is hold our breath.
It looked like the car was going to slide through the grass there and be okay, but then I don't know if it crossed some pavement or something, it dug in.
Yes, Ned, it caught a road over there, and it just...
And when the car got slightly in the air, then it just went on over. The air got underneath it, and it began to overturn, overturning several times.
There were so many cars running in that pack, something almost had to happen. Boy, they were just going at it so hard.
That we see Darrell. He's out on the inside of Kowicki, and Joe Ruttman right behind him. Now here comes Earnhardt. Looks like someone had tapped him. But Kowicki came down and touched Darrell.
Threw him back into Ruttman.
Ruttman gets in the side of him. And here's the road they hit.
Yep. When he hits the road, it gets him airborne, and the car starts over. Of course, he was being pushed by the car number 75. That was just a circumstance there.
There was certainly nothing aerodynamic that caused that crash. When they went over that paved road, which is part of the road course, that's when the car got airborne and began to flip. Here's another angle.
We'll see Darrell down on the inside of Alan Kowicki. And there's Earnhardt pulling out, making it about 3 abreast back there. But Kowicki was up a little bit high, and Darrell looked like, they just went together as they came off of turn 2 and started Darrell to the infield, and Rutten took him with him.
Car rolled over 5 or 6 times and came to rest on its side. And the rescue of Darrell Waltrip continues in the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt makes a pit stop. So do several other cars. As we once again look at the rescue of Darrell Waltrip, who, as we said earlier in this race, was hurt here a year ago in practice before the day before the race. It knocked him out of competition for a while, and he's been involved in what appears to be a serious crash here today. We'll be right back.
Most of our customers come to AutoZone for low prices and for parts they can replace themselves. But many people come because we speak their language. Things like duration and lift and compression ratios, stuff like that. Because a guy who's going to rebuild an engine, he won't buy parts from just anybody. And since AutoZone stocks complete engines, we know what makes them tick inside and out. Sure, we sell our best parts at our best prices every day. But if we know something that's going to help you do the job right, you get that free.
You know, our team's been real competitive with our Pontiac Grand Prix. So you can imagine how pumped up we got about this new high-tech engine Pontiac offers. It's called the Twin Dual Cam V6. Man, this is quality hardware. It's got 4 cams, 24 valves, multi-port fuel injection, and all kinds of torque and horsepower. But the bad news is, rules won't let us put it in our Grand Prix. You want to hear the good news? You can get it in your Grand Prix.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Daytona International Speedway. Serious crash on the backstretch. Darrell Waltrip is the driver involved. They are attempting to remove him from his battered race car that came to rest on its side at the end of the backstretch. And here is the other car that was involved in the incident. That is Joe Ruttman. He drove it on for quite a way, so Joe is okay, although that car is also very badly damaged in both the front end and the back end of the car. But right now, our concerns are for Darrell Waltrip.
It looks like, fellas, that what we can see of it, that the roll bars in Darrell's car has held up okay. We saw a lot of the sheet metal flying around, and we can see the workers peeling that sheet metal from it.
Here it is once again. Darrell is at the front of this pack here on the
orange
inside.
bumper down on the inside there.
I just wonder if the 22 car of Sterling Marlin, if he doesn't bump the 7 car. It looked to me like there was a little bit of contact between those 2 cars, which got Kowicki out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just trying to get as close as they possibly can, because the closer you get, the faster they go. We saw Darrell's car, when it hit that road, starts it flipping, and it's so muddy that the car just dug into it's rained so much here, the car dug into the ground, and just we understand that the cars are running 175, 80, 190 miles per hour at that point, and we see a tire that's come off the car.
Looks like about 6.5 times that car rolled over. From another angle, let's watch Sterling Marlin.
Now, he's the blue car, second in line on the outside.
So he just runs up behind Kowicki, and it's just
right there. It looked like they might have made a little bit of contact, and it got Kowicki.
Hey, we're getting a signal from NASCAR that DW is okay.
Oh boy, that's great news.
That is just unbelievable news. That is wonderful.
Of course, they will take him to the
infield care center. You're right, Ned. Look at the cage, the compartment the driver sits in, and you can see the roll bars held up well.
Yeah, the sheet metal was flying off there, but
that's okay. That's really what you wanted to do, like in IndyCar racing. The more the sheet metal that flies off, and the more of the crash that can be absorbed by the outer skin of the car, the better it is.
Absolutely.
And watch as the car is overturning. Now, see?
See sheet metal coming off.
Yeah.
The roll cage still is intact.
But the cage held up. Well, there's DW on the stretcher. He has his hands folded. Last week when Tommy Kendall had that crash at Watkins Glen, the greatest thing that we saw that afternoon was Tommy waved to the crowd as he was being loaded in the ambulance. We don't see anything like that from Darrell, but again, NASCAR has given us the thumbs up from their race control booth, which is located just to the right of us up here in the broadcast booth. So apparently the injuries are not serious to Darrell Waltrip, and there is the car. Jerry Punch, by the way, has moved to the infield care center and will, of course, first of all, assist in any way he can if there's anything he can do as far as his ability as a doctor is concerned, and will be reporting to us as soon as possible. So Darrell Waltrip involved in a serious crash here at Daytona. Back in a moment.
The way I work, I sure appreciate my new Suzuki King quad. It's great for fishing, too. Caught 9 bass last week. It hauled all the wood to build Martha's chicken coop. It took me hunting, spent all day shooting geese.
Check out the new King Quad ATV at your Suzuki dealer now.
You plowing tomorrow, Wayne?
Yep.
Don't forget your fishing gear.
Suzuki recommends all riders take a training course. In fact, it's on us. See your dealer for details.
Grand Prix Coupe, say your status. Climbing through 10,000 feet, heading 194. Switching to frequency modulation. Anti-lock brakes operational. Head up, locked on. Twin dual cam V6. Powered up. Yeah, Roger, Grand Prix. You're looking good.
From Airship Shamu, an overhead view of Darrell Waltrip's car that is on the flatbed truck headed back to the garage area. Darrell's car, there it is once again. Darrell's car badly mangled. Word is from NASCAR that Darrell is not seriously injured. Well, we remember what happened last year here at Daytona, and the problems with, or at least what the drivers say are problems associated with restrictor plate racing. You can actually build an engine differently for this kind of racing. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
To be an accomplished Winston Cup engine builder, you must feel comfortable building either restrictor plates or regular engines. And the regular engines you run everywhere else except Daytona and Talladega. Large intake, big enough to put my fist in, 1-inch spacer plate, bolted on, carburetor, and go racing. Nothing fancy. But this baby here is where all the creative juices come from. You can only do whatever you want to do below this 1-inch recess here in the intake. And NASCAR mandates you keep that 1-inch recess intact. In fact, they have a gauge they use at Daytona and Talladega. Official Art Krebs will put this gauge down in your intake, and it must fit flush or the intake is disallowed. Now, what many of the engine builders have done is gone to a 4-tube system down here. It looks more like a 4-leaf clover. But that 4-tube system lines up perfectly with the restrictor plate openings, thereby improving the draw of fuel and air into the intake. So you go by inspection for qualifying or to race. NASCAR gives you the plate, the spacer, they bolt it on, your carburetor, and you go racing. But where's all the horsepower in these restricted engines? It's underneath the tubes, probably the most closely guarded secret in all of racing, or at least outside the Pentagon.
Restrictor plate racing, of course, as we mentioned, NASCAR wants very much to give these drivers more horsepower, and that's why this aerodynamic package is being tested here this weekend.
Probably the most expensive thing on the race car is underneath the carburetor, because some of those intake manifolds, teams tell me they have $200,000 in one intake trying to find the horsepower.
We are back to green as we give you a field summary here. Watch for your favorite driver and see where he's running. Ernie Irvan, as you can see, is out in the lead. That's Schrader in second, Jimmy Spencer in third, and Davey Allison has moved into fourth position with Alan Kulwicki. Take a look at the rest of the field summary as we watch the action on the racetrack.
And we don't don't see Ricky Rudd's name there yet, Bob. In the top 15, he was running up front before this, but there we see him in 18th position. He made a pit stop. So did Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett, some of those that are back there. So they want to assure themselves, I guess, of having enough fuel to go the rest of the way.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has an update on Darrell Waltrip.
Well, gentlemen, it's the kind of reports as I catch my breath that I like to give on ESPN. Darrell Waltrip took a violent crash, and they are loading the car behind me back inside the Western Auto Trucks here. I talked to the paramedics, Bob Bachman, who and his excellent staff that work here at Daytona Speedway. They said Darrell was awake and alert and talking to him when he climbed out of the car. They are taking him to Halifax Hospital. It's a regional medical center just off of turn 4 here as a precaution. Probably do some x-rays and check him out, do a neurologic examination. But Darrell Waltrip should be okay, and that's great news, guys.
Boy, it sure is. Waltrip, boy, that was a scary-looking crash, but he apparently is going to be okay. Davey Allison has moved to 3rd position, and the guy who has won the last 3 out of 5 Winston Cup races is in another position to win another one.
Well, I tell you, this is amazing. We saw him struggling, was really in danger of going a lap down about 150 miles or so ago, and now he's right up there fighting for the lead. They did some miracle work on that car.
Sure did. He couldn't get out of his own way early in the race, but he is on the money now. Moving to the inside of Schrader, looking for 2nd position is Davey.
Trying to take that spot away. Meanwhile, Kawicki started to go with Davey. He's now going to lose that spot to Jeff Bodine. If he's not careful, to the 98 car of Jimmy Spencer and the 22 of Sterling Marlin.
Yep.
There's Bill Elliott back there. A bunch of Fords running right together, but unfortunately, they're for about 5th.
Yeah, Allen finally got up into the drafting line, but not before 2 other cars had passed him. Here's a group of cars running behind the leaders. That's the 42 car of Bobby Hillin. Rusty Wallace is alongside Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, and 20 Buddy Baker.
Baker having a good run here today. He loves to run this racetrack. He likes the draft and certainly is an expert at it. There's Ricky Rudd now right behind that pack of cars trying to make his way back through to pick up as many positions as he can. Remember, he did make a pit stop. Here's Earnhardt pulling out on the inside. Bobby Hillin trying to make a pass. I'm sure he motions to Rusty Wallace. Come on, go with me.
Yep, he makes the pass cleanly, drops in behind Gary Cope. We have seen a lot of passing here today, guys.
Really have, yeah. It's don't know if it is as a result of some of the changes that NASCAR mandated for the cars here. We have seen a lot of passing.
We have seen a tremendous amount of passing. That time, Earnhardt looked on the inside of the Derek Cope car, was not able to make the pass in the short chute between turn 4 and the tri-oval.
There's Ricky Rudd, number 5, Rusty Wallace in 2, and Harry Gant in number 33 as they battle for position.
Here goes Earnhardt now coming off the 2nd corner. He gets a run on Derek Cope and takes that spot away. Bobby Hillin follows him. Baker, Rudd. Derek Cope lost 4 spots before you said don't do it.
About to lose another one. Rudd does try to get on the inside of him there.
Well, it seems only appropriate that a Florida native should win the Right Guard Halfway Challenge since we're in the state of Florida. Norman Lillipop of Avon Park, Florida, knew that Ernie Irvan was leading at the halfway park. Ernie won $10,000. Norman Lillipop won a 1991 Pontiac Grand Prix. Watching ESPN, the Pepsi 400, our congratulations. The winner of the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. Side-by-side racing here, Gant and Rusty Wallace. Here comes Bobby Hamilton up at number 68.
I believe Bobby is a lap down. Had a tremendous qualifying run here. But his car got awfully loose or something in the early part of the race, and he got a lap down, but it looks like they got it going good now.
Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace, just neither of them can seem to find the advantage that's required to go on by.
Richard Petty in there, he's a lap down. The car number 1, Rick Mast.
Richard Petty is also a lap down, as is Bobby Hamilton. And this 9 car of Bill Elliott goes to the inside and takes the position away from Jimmy Spencer in number 98.
Wicked just passed him down in turns 1 and 2, and Elliott followed Kowicki by. There comes Sterling Marlin up to try to take the spot away. So Jimmy Spencer losing some of the steam he had just a few laps ago.
Well, guys, it's certainly positioning time now. They need to get themselves in as good a position as they possibly can as we're getting closer to the end of this race with what, about 27 laps to go.
Those two Fords, Kowicki and Bill Elliott, need to close that gap between the first 4 cars. That's the 4 leaders: Ernie Irvan, Kenny Schrader, Davey Allison, and Jeff Bodine.
With 133 laps to go in the Pepsi 400, we'll take another break and be right back with more of our live coverage. Stay with us.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
HBO's Dream On presents tips for the 90s. Good nutrition is essential.
The wine is for now. The oil is for later.
Parents should be open and honest.
Can't we just give him some book with lots of pictures or something?
Always dress for success.
I could be naked and in your office in 5 minutes.
Life and love in the 90s on Dream On.
Have a nice day.
Only on HBO.
Beginning Monday night on TBS, a woman in prison for a crime she didn't commit, where nightmares become reality, and the penalty is death. Nicole Kidman and Denholm Elliott in a TBS special miniseries presentation, Bangkok Hilton, beginning Monday night at 8:05 Eastern, exclusively on TBS.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaps. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. The Cubs' Ryne Sandberg is once again producing all-star numbers. He faces the Cardinals' all-star wizard, Ozzie Smith, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Well, tomorrow night, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball features a couple of all-stars, Ryne Sandberg and Ozzie Smith, as we'll have live coverage of the Cubs and the Cardinals tomorrow night at 8 o'clock here on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Speaking of all-stars, here are 4 of them that are nose to tail in the lead draft at Daytona. Ernie Irvan leaves Davey Allison now running second, and here's how Allison and Bodine got around Schrader.
Schrader got the car just a little bit loose coming off the second corner, had to squeeze out of the throttle just a little bit. That's all Davey and Bodine needed. By they win.
So Davey Allison now is second, Bodine third, and Schrader is fourth as Ernie Irvan continues to lead. When was the last time a driver swept both races in the same year here at Daytona, the 500 and the Pepsi 400?
I got a feeling you can tell me.
You know?
No.
Good. It was Bobby Allison back in 1982.
That means I got beat twice that year, right? By Allison.
And there were only 3 others to do it. Leroy Yarborough in 69, Cale in 68, and Fireball Roberts in 1962.
You know, I thought Davey Allison was history, man. We talked about just how bad he was. I thought he was, and said so. He was.
But looks like they have performed a miracle as we see the field go by. See where your favorite driver might be.
Bruce King, Dale Jarrett, Rick Mast.
A little bit of racetrack.
Dave Marcus.
Jeff Purvis, Mickey Gibbs, and Jimmy Means. Now, here is Alan Kowicki picking up position on Jimmy Spencer, and the 22 car of Marlin will come along.
Well, there's 3 Fords. There's Mark Martin, too, in a Ford. 3 of them get in a row and just motor right on by Jimmy Spencer. Bobby Hillen back there in the back of that pack.
Kowicki moves to 5th position, by the way, Ned.
Pole sitter, the 22 car. In 6th spot. Sterling Marlin.
There's Earnhardt down on the inside, taking a couple of positions. That yellow car is Larry Pearson. Larry has run good all day, but he had to make an unscheduled second pit stop, and that really hurt him.
Now, we're going back to the leaders. I want you guys to look at this Bill Elliott. Where did he come from?
He moves to 4th, going to the inside and passing Ken Schrader.
Remember just a couple of laps ago?
He wasn't even in sight, was he?
He wasn't even nowhere around the leaders. And I looked up and saw him. I could hardly believe my eyes. So he and Schrader running side by side. And as we said all day, losing some ground to those first 3 cars.
Elliott and Schrader battling side by side. Elliott's last win in Winston Cup competition was September 1990 at Dover. He was the winner of the Pepsi 400 back in '88.
And finally gets by Schrader. Now he has to go try to catch back up with the top 3. We can see about 10 car lengths between he and Jeff Bodine.
But I bet he catches him.
I wouldn't doubt it a bit. So he ran them down by himself just a few laps ago. Going by Chad Little will help them because he's able to run his line. These fellows had to squeeze out of the throttle just a little bit. See how quick he caught him up?
You better believe it. He's right there. Watching from Chad Little's in-car camera, there is Elliott. He has not only caught Jeff Bodine, but it looks like he's moving to the inside and maybe challenging for the position. And Schrader is also gone by. Yep, there's Bill to the inside, looking to the inside of Jeff Bodine.
Just didn't have quite enough. Now, Ernie going high up in turns 1 and 2. That's going to open the door for Davey Allison if he's not careful. David's going to look on the inside.
To the inside, he's got Jeff Bodine behind him. The Fords could hook up to put the Chevy back to 3rd. It could be back to 4th as here comes Elliott also. 3 Fords go to the front. It is Allison, then Bodine, then Elliott, and then comes the Chevys of Irvin and Schrader.
As we watch this battle, Bill Rutland, they made repairs on his car. He was involved in the wreck with Darrell Waltrip. He goes back out on the racetrack.
There goes our leader. Finally, the Fords that Ned talked about at the top of the show. 5 Fords qualified in the top 10, and now first 3 cars in the race is Fords.
Now, all 5 of these cars, fellas, pitted on lap 108. That means they had 52 laps to go. Some of those laps were run under caution during the Darrell Waltrip crash back there, so I expect they should be able to make it.
For those of you just joining us, Darrell Waltrip was involved in a very scary-looking crash, tumbling about 6.5 times down the backstretch. He has been taken to Halifax Medical Center and is not seriously injured. Let's go to John Kernan, who has a comment on Jeff Bodine.
Talk about sheer determination. Jeff Bodine now running second. Earlier in the race, before this last round of pit stops, he had been running as high as 3rd, but they had a problem. The car fell off the jack. He went back out in 14th, but sheer determination in driving to the front. Jeff has put his foot down and is now riding behind Davey Allison, possibly looking to make a move in the final few laps to pick up that win.
And there are Schrader and Irvin running side by side, and now Schrader goes to 4th.
Harry Dan, an unscheduled pit stop in the car number 33.
Harry stops. The crew goes around. They're going to change all 4 tires. Jerry Bunches, what's the problem?
We had heard a little bit ago as Harry began to drop out of the top 4 or 5 that he had a vibration on the car, so they're going to come in and change all 4 tires. Leo Jackson beating the spoiler down a little bit, trying to get the car a little more stable for Harry, beating it up for Harry to get the car a little more stable. Harry said the car was getting so loose he couldn't drive it, so they had to come in and make a pit stop, and he will lose a lap here under green to pit.
Dale Jarrett hated to see Harry come into the pits. They had hooked up in a draft back there and were coming along pretty good, but now Jarrett's left sitting out there by himself as Harry comes out of the pits, and Jerry said he is a lap down.
Winner of the race at Talladega. Let's take a look at a Big A on-track interval between the leader, Ernie Irvin, and Bill Elliott, and how Elliott was able to close the gap. On lap 136, the interval was 1.1 seconds, but then by lap 40, Elliott had moved into within 0.3 of a second.
And 0.3 0.9 of a second is not much.
No, you can hardly see that on the racetrack. Mike Beam has been named our Western Auto Mechanic of the race.
The crew chief owns the Maxwell House Ford, Sterling Marlin. Well, these cars, they ran 3 abreast the last time around. They've singled out a little bit now, but Ricky Rudd was right in the middle of the 3-car deal. And I think he said, let me get out of this. I don't need to be in that situation. I need to stay out here and get all the points I can get. So now he's moving up on Mark Martin. I beg your pardon, that's Morgan Shepherd, car number 15. Morgan is a left down.
Mike Beam named our Western Auto Mechanic of the race here at Daytona.
See the yellow car back there, the second yellow car, that's Michael Walter. He was way back. In fact, he came out of the pits last during that last caution flag, and he has come up through the field making a good run.
Meanwhile, here goes Bill Elliott taking over that second spot, or trying to, from Jeff Bodine, and I believe he's got him. He does, going in turn 3.
Bill Elliott just has an incredible following. He has an unbelievable fan club, and they are on their feet. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has a comment on Davey Allison.
And Bill Elliott making that pass has to concern the Davey Allison crew, because Davey just radioed to Larry McReynolds and crew that he is very loose up front, particularly when a strong car gets right behind him and gets him loose. And Bill Elliott's not going to stay there very long, as he will try to make the move inside of Davey Allison in turn 1. And they were concerned that possibly he would be a shooting duck out there out front because of the problem with the car getting so loose. And now it's a moot point because Bill Elliott is taking the lead. But the concern in the Allison pit once again, the car very, very loose when he is in front of the lead draft.
And he is pulling away from Allison, and this is the first time that Bill Elliott has led a race since Atlanta in March. And 3 cars battling for position here: Alan Kolicki, Mark Martin, and Hut Strickland.
Hut's car, we're riding in there as he follows Mark Martin through there. Oh, we didn't give this Ford to Chevrolet back there when they were running away, did we?
Just about it, I think.
If we did, we made a mistake, because the Fords have certainly roared back here today.
Boy, they sure have. There they are.
We see, Davey's car going up the hill. That's what it means. He's getting loose. He goes in the corner. When he has to turn the steering wheel to make the car go around the corner, the back end wants to fly out. He has no choice but go up the bank to catch that back end.
Now, while they've been doing that racing, Ken Schrader is about to catch back up to them in the Chevrolet. They've run off and left Ernie Irvin. He is running in 5th place. He was leading not too long ago. But now it wouldn't surprise me to see these 2 cars hook up, maybe and pull away. If Jeff Bodine, he don't want to hook up. He wants to pass. He wants to lead.
Jeff Bodine trying to take the Junior Johnson Ford to the lead, but can't do it. The last time that Junior won a race was at Daytona. And here at Daytona was in 1977 when Cale won the Daytona 500.
Well, they received. Ken Schrader has caught them now. I think that it would be smart, if they can do it, for Jeff Bodine and Bill Elliott to hook up together, with Davey having the problems that he's having there right now handling. They might be able to pull away and sell it among themselves.
Don't go away. We've got a little more than 10 laps to go, and it's anybody's race at the Pepsi 400 in Daytona.
Top-of-the-line parts, expert advice. That's your Big A Auto Parts store.
Keeps your car running right.
Last year, Motor Week named the Pontiac Grand Prix their 1990 Driver's Choice as America's best domestic sedan. Now they've done it again, honoring the Grand Prix sports sedan for the 2nd consecutive year as America's best. The Grand Prix sports sedan, 4-door practicality, Pontiac excitement, and Motor Week's choice for 2 straight years as America's best.
We're building The Cubs' Ryne Sandberg is once again producing all-star numbers. He faces the Cardinals' all-star wizard, Ozzie Smith, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, where Bill Elliott leads Jeff Bodine, Davey Allison, and Ken Schrader. 5th is Ernie Irvin. Then running in the 6th position is Jimmy Spencer, followed by Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Martin, Marlin, Mark Martin, and Mike Ultra. 9 laps to go.
And look at Bill Elliott running that high groove up in turns 1 and 2. His car not handling like it was just a couple of laps ago. He's moved up the racetrack, but these other cars not able to take advantage and move down to the inside. You know, Nick, Ken Slater might have the best car right now, but I don't think he's going to be able to pass 4 cars in just 8 laps. Do you?
3 cars, he'd have to have an awfully strong car to be able to do that, that's for sure.
Well, what Jeff Bodine and Davey Allison have learned in the first 151 laps of this race, they will now try to capitalize on. Elliott leads, looking for his first win since September of last year.
This time, Bill Elliott in the middle of the corner.
He's searching for a good spot to run. Whichever spot, he's able to stay out front so far, but he don't know what Jeff Bodine has left, if he has anything back there for him or not. Of course, he passed Jeff a little while ago, so
Jeff Bodine also has not won a race since September of last year at Martinsville.
I told Tim Brewer yesterday it looked like that he and Junior were pretty doggone busy in that 3 or 4 weeks they didn't come to the racetrack, because at Michigan the car was super competitive, and today it's been one of the top cars all day long.
7 laps to go as they remain in the same order. Elliott, Jeff Bodine, Davey Allison, and Ken Schrader. Once again, there's Elliott going high through the first and second corners.
Way high on the racetrack. When he did that a moment ago while he was on commercial, I thought he was going to wreck.
But it worked for him, fellas. He picked up about a car length.
Now look at this.
Trying to break the draft.
Break the draft, going to the inside.
Might have worked. He got another car length there.
Yep.
Now, which way is he going to go here? Is he going to go high or is he going to go low? He's trying to figure it out. He's in the middle of the racetrack.
Seems to work pretty well for him coming off turn 4 and through turns 3 and 4. There he goes down on the inside again. Bodine follows him. Get every little bit of draft that he possibly can. But I'll bet Elliott goes high again here in turn 1.
6 laps to go. 154 completed. Bodine is right there on the inside, but just cannot build up the momentum to make the pass coming out of the second corner. Elliott maintains the advantage.
But Jeff did pick up a little bit that time down on the inside.
Elliott goes inside again, trying to lose the draft and put another car length between himself and Jeff Bodine.
There's Ernie Elliott. Ernie Irvin's back there in 5th place, riding along by himself behind these 4 cars.
Who appeared at one time to have things in hand, but he's back in 5th position right now.
Once again, Elliott trying to run all over the racetrack, so these fellas do not have any idea which way he's going to go. Trying to keep them from getting the draft. Some draft off that car in front. Once again, Elliott really high up in the corner.
Got good traction that time. It worked for him. He picked up another car length or so, then goes down to the inside, trying to break the draft. He knows they're going to follow him down through there.
They just move right into his tracks and follow him.
But maybe that little bit when he first makes that turn gives him just a little bit of an edge. He's working this thing well, fellas. His car is running well, and Bill Elliott is driving it to the best advantage. It's been a while since we've seen somebody really make those maneuvers all over the racetrack, but Bill Elliott is driving a super smart race right now.
There's 4 cars in front of him, 4 slower cars in front of him, and they're going to catch those cars before the race is over. So I think they're going to come into play before this thing ends.
Bill Elliott is Daytona's all-time leader in earnings with $1,094,000. 3 wins, including 2 500s and 1 Pepsi 400. Can he win his second Pepsi 400 here in the next 2 and a little more laps?
Davey Allison might be getting close to being out of the draft. He's getting some effect from it, but I don't know. He can still pick it up.
Bill's best finish this year prior to today, second at Atlanta.
The cars are going down in turn 1. Those slower cars I talked about, there's 2 of them right in front. Now, is that going to help Jeff Bodine as he comes off this corner on the low side? Maybe he's going to get some draft. Let's see.
Purvis in 51.
Didn't help him that time.
Well, I think it did help both of them pull away from Davey Allison a little bit, Benny. So it looks like it'll boil down to a 2-car race. Now Elliott picked up a little bit on Jimmy Means there.
Now he's able to turn down in front of Means, and that'll give him a little bit of advantage on Jeff Bodine as well.
Left Jeff up there running in thick air himself. Now Dave Marcus in front of Bill Elliott. He's got 2 more cars there that he can work off of. So far, Bill Elliott has worked the draft. He has worked the racetrack and his race car to his advantage.
2 laps to go. 5 miles of racing left at Daytona in the Pepsi 400. Elliott and Bodine.
This is an advantage for Bill because he's able to run high where he's been running all the time. Bodine hasn't been up there, so might really work for Bill. Let's see.
And he pulls back to the inside, leaves Jeff out there once again on the outside. Once he got in front of those cars, Bill Elliott has given a super smart race here, fellas.
And now look, he has a, what, 10, 15 car length advantage on Jeff Bodine with just a lap and a quarter to go.
Elliott looks like he has things going his way. No one has ever won this race starting from the 10th position, but Bill Elliott may be on his way. He receives the white flag. There's 1 more lap to go. It's been 20 races since Bill Elliott was last in victory lane. That was at Dover in September of last year. He moves, it looks, even further away from Jeff Bodine as he takes the car off to 31 degrees of banking in turn 2 and heads down the flat backstretch. Bill Elliott goes to the inside, trying to break that draft and trying to leave Jeff Bodine in his wake. He now takes the car again into the banking, 31 degrees in turns number 3 and 4. Bodine lurking about 7 or 8 car lengths behind. Elliott has the car right on the bottom of the racetrack. Here they come into the tri-oval. Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, heads toward the checkered flag, and he gets it. Elliott wins.
Here's a race for the 5th spot, I believe. Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, Ricky Rudd.
Rudd and Jimmy Spencer are side by side at the line, but Rudd got the advantage. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Ernie Elliott.
I tell you what, Ernie, the whole crew deserves this. Bill, a great job driving. You had that stop-and-go penalty. You had some problems with handling of the car, but you kept working at it.
Yeah, I think it really proves the merit of this race team. You know, nobody's giving up, even through all the adversity. I just like to dedicate this to all the people who have sacrificed, so that we can be able to be here today. You know, Mike, Rich, my grandmother, my mom, my mother-in-law, and especially for my dad, who stayed there behind us the whole time, never giving up. And all of our families, my wife, the kids, everybody's really stuck with us. We've been down and out, but it just proves the merit of this race team.
Ernie Elliott, Bill's brother, crew chief, engine builder.
Bill Elliott wins the Pepsi 400. He pulls the car into victory lane. We'll be back to talk with him right after these messages.
You know, our team's been real competitive with our Pontiac Grand Prix. So you can imagine how pumped up we got about this new high-tech engine Pontiac offers. It's called the Twin Dual Cam V6. Man, this is quality hardware. It's got 4 cams, 24 valves, multi-port fuel injection, and all kinds of torque and horsepower. But the bad news is, rules won't let us put it in our Grand Prix. You want to hear the good news? You can get it in your Grand Prix.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Top-of-the-line parts, expert advice. That's your Big A Auto Parts store.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Bill Elliott has won for the 34th time in his Winston Cup career, tying him with Fireball Roberts at number 14 on the all-time win list. Obviously a very tired Bill Elliott, but look at this. This is where the cars are being stopped so the NASCAR officials can check the rear spoilers.
Checking the angle on the rear spoiler. Remember at Talladega, just about on May, the Winston 500. There's Elliott getting out of his car.
And let's go to Jerry Punch in victory lane.
Well, we'll let Bill catch his breath just a moment. We'll slide in here beside him and let him get his face all wiped off. It has been a hot afternoon here, over 120 degrees in the car. And as Bill now gets a big deep breath, my friend, congratulations and a big smile as well. Tremendous run for you today.
Well, with 20 laps to go, I didn't think the Coors Light Melling Ford would ever make it. But I caught a second breath, and I was able to get by Jeff, and then I was able to get by Davey. And then my car was just a little bit loose, but if I ran high through 1 and 2 and low through 3 and 4, it was perfect. And Jeff could kind of run at me, but he never did have enough to come on by me. But, man, I tell you what, we worked for this one, I guarantee you.
If you'd have had a turn signal in the car, you would have worn it out those last couple laps. You turned left and then right and left and right. Were you just trying to break the draft?
Well, the biggest thing that helped me is we caught them slow cars, and that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, was catching those cars with 3 laps to go. Was able to give me enough momentum to gain a little bit of gap on Jeff there, and then he could never catch it back.
Well, Bill, congratulations.
Boy, it's been a long time coming. You know, I'm happy for Harry and all the guys on the team. They did a heck of a job today, and everybody said a lot of stuff about this race team, but, this is for my mother and my grandma, and there's no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely a special win for Bill Elliott here. The 33rd annual Pepsi 400 is history, and Bill Elliott becomes the 10th different winner in 1991.
Bill Elliott wins the Pepsi 400 here at Daytona International Speedway. Back with more right after this.
The Suzuki Bandit. Don't blink.
Caught ya! You guys aren't supposed to be in here.
Hey, no problem, Honorable Dojo guy.
This is an import car.
Hi, we're the Autolites. Guaranteed in any language. Feel good.
Imports, too?
Yeah, 2 years, no matter how far we go.
But I...
Oh, sorry. Hey,
but...
So sayonara. Hey, I feel good.
Okay.
I knew that I would not.
The Suzuki GSX 1100G. Fly without excess baggage.
The top 5 finishers here in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Bill Elliott, the winner. Jeff Bodine finishes in second. Davey Allison comes home third, followed by Ken Schrader and Ernie Irvan. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by Pontiac and your Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Suzuki, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. John Kernan is standing by with our second place finisher, Jeff Bodine.
Jeff enjoying a nice cool drink right now. I tell you what, Jeff, after that last pit stop where the car fell off the jack and you lost about 10, 11 positions, I'd almost given up on you.
Oh, don't ever give up on me or the Budweiser Ford. Yeah, it put us behind, but we made an adjustment to the chassis, and it really helped. I came up through the pack, missed the wreck. Daryl, I hope you're okay. That was a wild wreck. 4th of July, all the servicemen and women around the world, thank you. We couldn't be here putting the show on if you hadn't protected our country just a little while back, so thanks for that. Glad everyone came home. But it was a good race. I mean, good for me. I haven't run up front on a Speedway in a long time, so I'm just ecstatic. Bill was just a little too fast for the Budweiser Thunderbird. We had it wide open all the way around, but he just had a little bit more, and that's what this game is all about. The guy that has the most and can handle the best can win the race. Good race, Bill, Davey, Sterling, Kenny, everybody. It was a great race except for that one wreck.
There's your second place finisher, Bob, Jeff Bodine.
And it was his best finish of 1991 in second position. Pocono was his best prior to today of 5th. We'll recap the Darrell Waltrip accident when we come back.
Look closely. This amazing dental breakthrough can clean your teeth better than you've ever cleaned them before. Introducing Power Plaque 2000. It reaches deep down where plaque builds up and scours it away with bristles counter-rotating thousands of times per minute. Why risk all this? Power Plaque 2000 is recommended for everyone. It comes with an extra brush and convenient stand, all for the incredible low price of only $19.95. But wait, order now and get the complete Dazzle Tooth Whitener absolutely free. Just use this proven 3-step process for a dazzling smile, free. It's the perfect combination for the giveaway price of only $19.95. Call now.
Call 1-800-453-9500 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to Power Plaque 2000, 1000 American Way, Roanoke, Virginia.
Look for the sign.
Top-of-the-line parts.
The red, blue, and white.
Expert advice.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Auto Parts store,
Keeps your car running right.
where the pros go for auto parts.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
Well, we thank the airship Shamu, the goodwill ambassador of SeaWorld, for providing some great aerial shots of this Pepsi 400 here today. The pilot, Alan Judd of Australia, and Steve Adams of Trotwood, Ohio, heads for the airport. Got some rain moving in the next few minutes, so the SeaWorld and the airship Shamu moves away from the racetrack. The most scary part of the race certainly came here when Darrell Waltrip got together with other cars and flipped down the backstretch.
Alan Kawicki and Darrell Waltrip make some contact there. Kawicki gets a little bit sideways, comes down, bumps Waltrip, and Joe Ruttman has no place to go. They get alongside to the grass. They pick up speed, going strong. Now the asphalt road makes the car lift, start flipping, and watch Waltrip as he goes over and over.
The sheet metal flies from the car, but fortunately the roll bar cage stayed intact.
And we go to Dr. Jerry Punch, who's with Jeff Hammond.
Well, we told you earlier they had taken Darrell Waltrip to the hospital, to the care center over there at Halifax Hospital for a checkup. Jeff Hammond has just come back from the hospital and is back in the garage area. Jeff, what's the status on DW?
Well, all things considered, Jerry, he's doing exceptionally well. He's complaining about his shoulder, but he is conscious, and he knows all of us, and everything seems to be coming back to him. He got a little rattle-headed because, from what I understand, I haven't seen it yet, but he took a pretty wild ride back over on the backstretch. But he is he's laying over there right now, and him and Stevie are talking about he hopes he can get out this afternoon so he can get on up on his vacation. So I'd say he's doing really good.
One tough customer, and I know DW, you're probably watching over there. We send our best wishes to you. A wild wreck for Darrell Waltrip, but Jeff Hammond just come from the hospital. He will be okay. Darrell Waltrip, good news after that very, very scary-looking crash here during the Pepsi 400. We'll take another break and be back with more from Daytona International Speedway.